Wonderful. Hello there. How are you all doing? Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good everything, wherever you are at this particular moment on the surface of the earth, hearing my voice. Welcome to the World Cafe Live Show. Yes, we are here again in the room. Yes, to celebrate our women. I told you the month of March is dedicated to women. And on the World Cafe Live Show, we'll try our best to, do what we know how to do. What's that? Celebrate our women. Yeah, we've been talking about breaking the bias and all that. Yes, that's the theme. And today I have a wonderful personality on the show, and we're going to have what I consider a little bit controversial, but I need us to talk about it. Yes, I'll bring her on shortly. You will see her face. Thank you for being there. Thank you for doing this with us on the World Cafe live show. So I bring her up immediately. Yes, there she is, Adiola. You're welcome to the show. How are
Thank
you?
you very much. I'm very well, thank you. I hope you're fine too.
I'm good.
Thank you
I'm
for
good.
having me on your show. It's really good to be
Pleasure.
here.
Pleasure. When I checked you up and I looked at your profile, I was like, this woman is so many things to so many people. She's a speaker. She is a TEDx, personality. She's LinkedIn influencer. She's a chartered accountant. But above all, she calls herself a global brand. That was what caught my attention. The guys, don't worry. I'll allow her introduce herself. Then we will, diving into today's conversation. So, who is Adiola?
Okay, good evening, viewers. My name is Omobabiri Adeola Oshideko, but just call me Adeola. I know the first part is very complicated, sort of.
But it
So
sounds it sounds it sounds like
it's really
music,
good.
honestly, when you say it.
It's really good to be here, and I want to say Happy International Women's Day once again to all women all over the world. Uh, to be a woman at a time like this is really commendable. It takes a lot
Yeah.
of courage, effort to be a woman and keep standing in this age and time.
Yeah.
I am a personal development coach, a branding expert, and a social media influencer. But those
Hmm.
three put together are what I do outside my regular 9 to 5 job. So for my 9 to 5 job, I am an accountant,
Hmm.
and I work with one of the international organizations as a finance professional. So thank you for having me here today to talk to people about women and things that evolves around women.
Awesome. Awesome. You know, that 9 to 5 that you do, I would say, from what I'm seeing, it's like 20% of you. The other aspect of you, as in the 80% I see, is more within that development as in space where you coach and encourage people. Awesome, awesome. Now,
Yeah, yeah.
before we came on, I told you what we're going to talk about today, or is something a little bit controversial, but we need to talk about
Yes.
it because it's happening out there. Female bosses and their style. Fortunately, when I reached out to you to do this, I just started receiving, or would I say receiving, or started seeing articles on female managers. And I saw one today, before I came on,
Okay.
and statistics showing that uh, the countries with the highest number of female managers. Surprisingly, Africa is leading. Nigeria on that list is second, as in Togo
Wow.
is first, followed by Nigeria, that you have more women managers. And I was like, so you are setting me up concern, with regards to today's conversation. So, what is your take, female bosses and your style?
Okay. Thank you once again. Female to be a boss is really not supposed to be gender based. Okay, please can you give me 1 minute? Just give me 1 minute. Let me
Okay.
go live on my Instagram
All right
with
then. Go
another
ahead.
device. Thank
All
you.
right then. All right then.
So, like I was saying, being a boss or not is not supposed to be gender based. We are not
Yeah.
supposed to say, oh, because she's a woman, let her be a boss, or because she's a man, let her be a boss. We've seen situations whereby at the level of the board, when a decision is about to be made
Mm-hmm.
concerning who is the next person to be a manager, who is the next person to step up to this managerial, to this leadership role, we see a lot of biases against women or even against men at times. You know, some
Mm.
people believe, oh, a woman should be able to do this better. And you will see, oh, some people will say a man is supposed to be able to do this better. So for me, I believe that position should be based on people's capabilities, their capacity, their performance, and their proven track record over the period
Okay.
of time on that job. Being a woman and being a boss is kind of it comes with its pros and cons because a woman is supposed to take care of the family, literally. You know, in
Mm-hmm.
those days, some women don't work. In fact, some men don't permit their women to work because they believe that their job is to stay at home, cater for the family, and take care of the children. So,
Okay.
but in these days, we discover that, oh, a man alone cannot do this. It's also going to be fine if a woman can support by working.
Yeah. Okay.
Apart from being a support system, we also discover that women have a lot of virtues in them. They have a lot of potentials. Why should we allow these potentials to die just because they want to cater for the family and they want to raise children and they want to take care of their home? Let them also work. And that is when people start seeing the need for women to work and lead. And you will discover that even while we are still working as a career professional, the
Yeah.
society will not let go of that part of our responsibility at home and say, oh, because she's not working, you are excused. You know, you see a lot of cases where people will start arguing on a man helping a woman. Oh, you are not supposed to help her. This is her job. Even when she is a full-time professional, some people even run businesses alongside their
Mm-hmm.
career. So
Yeah.
that tells us that the duty of a woman in the house is still there. And somehow, a woman have to merge the two together in whatever capacity you can. You just have to make sure that the two comes together. And that kind of for me personally, I see it as kind of burdensome for women.
Okay.
And if you as a woman are not able to undo it very well, you will get overwhelmed, you will get burdened, and um you will not be able to give your best
Okay.
emotionally on one part of the job. Definitely, is either your career is suffering for it, or your house is suffering for, or your home is suffering for it. So that's why we see a lot of harshness in women because a lot of them have things they do at home. They are stressed up at home before. So coming to the office with all these baggages, some of them
Mm-hmm.
just let loose of everything and they just are not in control of their emotion. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of challenging and it's kind of very important that women understand the bridge or the gap between their responsibility as a mother, as a wife, and as a career professional, and do not allow it to clash in whatever form.
If I hear you correctly, you're trying to paint a picture of a balance, here.
Yes, a balance.
A
Yes,
balance.
yes.
I was listening to Jeff Bezos recently, when they were asking him a question about this word work-life balance. And I enjoyed, the answer he gave, because the issue of work-life balance, I've heard three versions of it. I have work-life balance, work-life integration, then work-life harmony. The work-life harmony was the response Jeff Bezos gave. He was like, I don't expect you to like have a different persona when you go home and when you
Mm-hmm.
come to the office,
To
have
work.
another. Exactly. My expectation is you harness that energy. That's the word he used, that energy from your home. Bring that energy, positive energy, to the office. I also expect you to like harness the positive energy in the office and take it back home. So
Oh,
what we are talking about here is creating that harmony.
balance.
Easier
Yeah.
said than done. Easier said than done. But the truth is, with practice, you come to see it. Because from what you just painted now, it's like, while why so many women, have, corporate spaces, like lash out, give out that negative energy. It's like something that happened at home is
At
like
home,
transferring
yes.
that aggression and all.
Aggression.
So we need to like balance it. So what do you think from your point of view as a coach in that, should I say, element? How can we help the women create this
Okay.
balance, this harmony?
All right. Thank you very much. I think the first thing is that women should understand emotional intelligence. It's very
Okay.
key. If any other person will not be taking emotional intelligence serious, women should do. Understanding your emotions as a woman is going to help you strike that balance, create that harmony between your home or your family and your work. Understand who are you? What is your personality? Because we discover that a lot of times people just pay attention to the technical parts of their job. There's something we
Okay.
call soft skills. Soft skills are things like public speaking. Soft skills are basically skills that can aid or help you to be
Mm-hmm.
better on your job, to that can help you to achieve maximum results. But
Yeah.
most of the time, we discover that people just pay attention to their technical skills. For instance, I'm an accountant, or everything I
Mm-hmm.
just need to do is understand what is accounting, what is balance
Mm-hmm.
sheet,
Mm-hmm.
how do I interpret my financial statement, how do I prepare my reports, and once I'm done with that, I'm good to go. Every other
Mm.
thing is not important to me. There
Okay.
are some things we call soft skills. Unfortunately, in the world today, the organization, or let me say organizations, are not creating that enabling uh, environment for these skills to thrive. They don't train their staff. They don't talk
Okay.
about it. They don't send emails. There are some random emails you receive, not just based on the job, based
Mm-hmm.
on things that can help employee to grow personally. So we have things like emotional intelligence, we have things like communication skills, we have things like public speaking and presentation, we have
Yeah.
things like personality development, and so on and so forth. So women should pay more attention to their soft skills, especially the personality development part and the emotional intelligence part. What does emotional intelligence do for you as a woman? It helps you understand your emotions. There is
Okay.
nobody that doesn't have emotions. As human, that is
Mm-hmm.
our makeup. In fact,
Yeah.
research shows that we have over 300 emotions. So that means, as you have as human being, you have three. There's a probability of 300 feelings running through your veins at the same time. So that means you need to know what are these emotions. How do they come? What are the triggers? How do they
Yeah.
affect me? What should I
Okay.
put in place to make sure that these emotions do not affect my job?
Okay.
I work with a manager once that said, whatever problem you are bringing from your house, once you are coming, just hang it at the door before you come inside to the office. And when you are going back, you can just pick your thing and just go with it. Do not bring any baggage from your house to the office. So we need to understand our emotions. A lot of people only think that anger is the only emotion because anger is popular.
Mm-hmm.
I think anger is the most popular emotion. Oh, anger. Because when you talk about emotion like this, everybody's mind cast back to anger. So, oh, that's what they're talking about. No, you have over 300 emotions. Anxiety is an emotion.
Yeah.
Love is emotion. Hate is
Of
emotion.
course.
Disgust is, we have so many of them. And you
Yeah.
need to understand all of these things, especially some of them that are really paramount, that are really common, that
Mm.
probably in a day you cannot go without having these feelings. You need to
Yeah.
know what they are, how they work, how they affect you, what are the triggers, how can you manage your emotion, not just your own emotion, how can you manage the emotion of other people. When we understand our emotions as women, I believe that it's going to be quite easy for us to be able to
Okay.
harmonize our home and our career at the same time. So I
Yeah.
think emotional intelligence, number one. The number two is personality development.
Okay.
Understand your personality. So many
Right.
people, if you ask them today what's your personality, they don't even know. So if you don't know your personality, how do you know the personality of the other person? How do you know their temperament? How do you know everything around them? So we need to understand these things, because these are the things that will help us to be able to manage people and relate with people without any chaos and problem.
I hear you say mindfulness. In everything
Yes.
you just said now, mindfulness. That's what I'm just hearing now. But you kept saying women, women. But don't you think it would be, should I say, helpful to also let the men get involved in that training, emotional intelligence, your personality type, your emotion, anger management, and all that, so that you bring this to, would I say, personalities into a room, like you're training them to understand. Something happened once, in an organization, and they came up with this idea of bringing your child to the office a particular day in the week. You just bring your child or your children, as the case may be, come around, come see what daddy, why, daddy leaves the house by this time and comes back by this time. And they came to figure out that the children coming to the office, seeing the space, enjoying the ambience, so to say, asking questions, they
Questions.
noticed that after that activity, the parents started coming to the office happier, because definitely
Oh,
if the child is coming, the mother or whoever stays with the child at home will, you know tag along. So it's like they came to the office, saw the atmosphere, the parent going back home, mother or father as the case may be, coming back the following day, and subsequently the management came to see that these people are livelier. So
they are more
it's like
productive.
they are more productive. Exactly. Bringing the children to the office, somehow the children now see what mommy and daddy goes to do. And them going back home is like they're now getting that support. So from what you're saying now, I mean, this is just me, submitting. I think having such an exercise between, I mean, bringing the mother and the father, or the man and the woman, practicing this, it will help. What's your take? What's your take on that? What's your take on that?
Yes, I think it will. Also, like you said, something similar to what you just said is
Mm.
companies, organizations that make provision for women to bring to have their baby in a crèche. You know, some
Yeah.
organizations have crèche for their staff, their female staff, where they can keep their baby while they are working. At times when you keep your baby very far away from you as a woman, your mind is there. You're working, but your mind is somewhere else.
Hmm.
So even though you are present physically in the office, you're somewhere else entirely. You're like, oh, what is my baby doing right now? Is he crying? Is the nanny taking care of him? Your mind is just out. But by the time
Okay.
you know that if you want to go and ease yourself, you can quickly say hi to the baby, and oh, the baby is fine. Every minute
Mhm.
you are so assured that your baby is in good hands. It will increase your productivity level, and it will even encourage you to work more, because you don't have to walk miles even after work before you go and pick your baby. And so,
Yeah.
like the scenario you painted just now, bringing children to the office, yes, is good, because you know I discovered that somehow we cannot separate family from career. We cannot separate business from career. We cannot
Yeah.
separate business from family. One way
Yeah.
or the other, these things are intertwined. And the earlier
Yeah.
we understand it, the better. I've seen people talk about LinkedIn platform, and they say, oh, LinkedIn is a professional platform. Do not bring anything personal to LinkedIn. And I kept saying, okay, as much as I agree with you that LinkedIn is simply strictly professional, you cannot
Yeah.
separate people from their family. Even when people are still talking about their professional life,
Of
one way or
course.
the other, you will still discover that they talk about their family in between. Oh, when I was going to work, I dropped my child in the school. That is still not professional. So we
Hmm.
cannot separate family from career. We cannot separate career from family. So the only thing we can do is try to find a balance in such a way that one does not disturb the other.
To create that
Everybody is
harmony.
productive. You're
All right.
productive at home, at the same time productive at work. So yes,
at
it's
work.
going to be a very good idea.
Beautiful. I'm going to ask you this
Harmony,
question
yes,
now.
yes.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you this question to throw you into that controversy now. How many bosses have you had in your career? How
Okay.
many bosses have you had?
I'm I,
One.
I,
How many
I didn't get the
bosses?
question.
One. I said, how many bosses have you had in your career? Total. One, two, three, four, five.
Oh, let me start thinking. Okay, one, two, three. I've worked in so many places. So
All right. Now I'm going to ask you the
four,
next question.
5, 6, 7. I've worked with 7 bosses.
Seven
Two
bosses.
female. No,
Okay.
eight actually.
Eight,
Two
eight
female,
bosses.
6 male.
All right.
Yes,
Out of
two
these eight
female,
bosses,
6 male.
yeah, out of these eight bosses, two female, six male. Now,
Six
what will
males.
you
Yeah.
say, still male? Now, what will you say as in amongst them? Who gave you that support to build your career further? The female bosses or the male bosses?
Okay, sincerely, it's the female bosses.
Really? Okay, I want to
It's
hear
my
that.
it might look
I want
biased,
to
but
hear
that's
that.
the truth. The
Yeah.
female bosses that I once had, they were amazing, and they really gave me that edge
Ah,
to
good.
do the job. And
What
you know
about the
why?
male bosses?
Oh, some of them are not bad. Some of them are not bad, but I work with a very non is it non empathetic one out of the 6. But
Oh,
overall, I would say I haven't been in the web of bad or difficult bosses. I really do not
okay.
have such experience
All
like
right.
that. So I would say so far so good. I've been blessed with amazing people. People
Okay.
that are just interested in your growth, people who
Yeah.
are just interested in you being comfortable, nothing more.
Mm.
Once you do your job, they don't have problem with you. Once you do your job, they don't have problem with you. So I've been blessed so far to work, because when people talk about difficult bosses, I try to picture it in my head. I'm like, okay, what does it mean to have a difficult boss? I really do not know what it means, sincerely.
You
Sincerely,
know,
I really do not know what it means.
there is this belief out there in the corporate world. It's really not spoken about, but we all kind of hear it I mean, along the corridors and all that. That female bosses are very difficult, very
Yes.
very difficult compared
So I
to
had to.
male
I don't know how far
bosses.
it's true.
So now the question I ask is just like you said. What do you mean by difficult? That female bosses are difficult. What do you mean by that? And each time I ask that
Okay.
question, no, I'll allow you to speak, but let me tell you the response I always get. Each time I ask that question, what I see is an antagonism.
Okay.
This female boss, she doesn't like the way I look. She's always speaking on, petty things and all that. I said, really? Are you sure about that? So people have had different experiences, but I think it boils back to what you said earlier, managing your personality. Managing
Okay.
your
Yeah.
personality. Yeah, you wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Okay, like I said, I really do not have an idea, complete idea of what a difficult boss looks like. But let me just come from the angle of what people usually say, because I also believe that most times I don't want to, because when you have not been in a particular shoe, you might
Mhm.
really not be able to talk about it. But from my own view, I
True.
think what some people call difficult at times might not really be difficult. Some people are
Okay.
lazy, and there are some people I've worked with. Have I really worked with lazy boss? I can't really say I've worked with a lazy boss. So far, so good.
Hmm.
I've been working with hardworking bosses, and you need to match up with their expectation. You need
Yeah.
to match up. So sometimes some people are just lagging behind. They're just lazy, and when the boss is
Hmm.
trying to quicken them to say, "Oh, let's do this. We need to get this done." No, you can't tell me you have not done this. They label it as, "Oh, difficult boss." You see some people that they love being pushed around before they do. They can't sit down and use their initiative to do things. And
Yeah.
when the boss is like, oh no, you should be able to figure this out on your own, they say, oh, he's a difficult or she's a difficult boss. But I
Yeah.
also do not want to conclude, but because in the real sense of it, we have people that are really difficult. Because, like I said, I don't have difficult bosses. I've worked with difficult colleagues before.
Okay.
Yes, so I can come from that angle and say, okay, maybe I will have an idea of what a difficult boss is. So to me, a difficult boss is someone who lacks, the first thing for me is someone who lacks empathy.
Empathy.
Yes, empathy. You should be able to empathize with your subordinates, no matter what. We have cases where people lie,
Mm.
but I believe that as a boss, you should be able to tell whether someone is lying or not. And probably based on their track record so far, you should be able to say, oh, this person is saying the truth. Because we see people who do stuff and they say, oh, I'm sick,
Mm.
I'm not coming to office today. And when the boss reacts that, oh, what do you mean? Because the boss think he or she's lying, it becomes an issue. Oh,
Mm.
he's a bad person. She didn't even empathize with me that I'm sick and all that. So I believe that empathy is very, very key. Put yourself in the shoes of that subordinate and know how what they feel. Try to feel what they feel. Try to see what they go through. That's number one for me, empathy. Then number two is not respecting people's opinion, because some
Mm.
bosses are so domineering that they have the, yes, you have the final say as a boss, but that does not mean you should not consider the opinion or the ideas of people or
Yeah.
subordinates. Let them talk,
Yeah.
let them express themselves. It doesn't mean that you will still take what they have said. It just shows
Mhm.
that they are part, you've seen them as parts of the team. You've seen
Of the
them,
team.
they have to, you want to make them have a sense of responsibility, a sense of
Mm.
belonging. They don't feel
Mm.
like an outcast. They feel that they belong to that team and they are part of
Yeah.
that team. So let them express themselves. And finally, you have the last.
Say.
You are the one who make the, yes. You have the last say. You have the final decision. But let them feel that they are important. They are not just dummies and figureheads. They are also
Yeah.
important in the team. So that's number two. Number three for me is someone who is not able to take responsibility. You know, I've seen
Okay.
cases whereby I'll prepare some reports and there will be errors. And, you know, I have to give the report to my boss. My boss have to
Yeah.
present it to the other boss, to the higher
Yeah.
boss. And maybe during the presentation, my boss discovered that there is a problem. And the boss will cover up for me without even letting the other boss know that the problem is from me. So you cover
Exactly.
up, you take responsibility of that report at
Mhm.
that time.
Yeah.
Not like you say, oh, don't worry, that error you're looking at, this particular error you're looking at. Don't worry, I knew where this error is coming from. It's
It's
from
coming
that Adiola.
from.
She was the one that prepared this report. Let me just get back to that, you know. So a boss is accountable. Something happened sometimes ago in my small coaching group. Somebody did something, and I went to the leader. And I'm like, okay, something happened. You're using my brand name to do something that I really do not find funny. Why?
Yeah.
I saw one of your team members using this my brand name to do stuff and all that. And she was like, no, it's not me. Oh, I'm not the one. They are the one. Oh, they are the one that made the decision. They were the one that said we should use that name. And I'm like, no, you don't do that. You
You
know, I
don't.
told her point. I said, you're a leader. You are supposed to take responsibility for everything that happened. They suggested my brand name to you, but you used it. You finalized and you conclude that you're going to be using that name. And now, in
Yeah.
fact, she even went to the extent of she wants to send me screenshots of where they discussed that thing and they suggested my name. She's not the one. I'm not the one. I'm like, no, you're a bad person. You don't do that. You
It's really
accept
bad.
responsibility no matter what. You say, oh, I'm sorry, this is my fault. You cannot go
Yeah.
back to go and sort out whatever it is with your team members. I am not concerned about that. You are the leader and I'm facing you as the leader. So a good boss take responsibility. A good
Mm-hmm.
boss accept their mistakes. You know, there are some people that are so defensive, they don't want to even see themselves being vulnerable to the subordinate. They want to
Yeah.
appear so perfect that nobody can
Yeah.
correct them. Oh, I am perfect. I don't make mistakes. And they want
Mm.
their subordinate to take everything hook, line, and sinker. Oh,
Okay.
this is the perfect boss. No, you need to show your vulnerability at times. It makes you look human. It makes it easy for your subordinate to relate with you. So those few things
Amazing.
are what I just see, and I think the problem when people say they have a difficult boss.
Awesome, awesome. This is so beautiful. What you have just presented, so beautiful. You must have that empathy, you must take responsibility, and you must show vulnerability. You are vulnerable.
Yes,
It's like
yes, yes,
the next person sees that she's human after all, and can relate.
yes. With
Yes.
her,
Now,
absolutely.
one last question before I let you go. You said you've worked with 8 bosses, two female, 6 male. Now, going forward, would you still prefer to work with a female boss or a male boss from your experience?
Okay, I really do not know how to answer this question. I think either of the two is going to be cool with me. Either of the two
Okay.
is going to be cool with me because I understand I wouldn't say I understand totally completely, but I would say I understand a little bit of, because I am a boss myself. I manage people. I've been managing people
Okay.
in my small team for the last
Mhm.
3 years now, and I really understand what it means to be a leader. And so I can
Okay.
relate from both angles. So if my manager or my boss is reacting in a way, I try to put myself in a position and say, okay, if my team member also are the one looking at me from this angle, how do they feel? So so it makes
Mm.
me to have like a double view. So I
Okay.
am in the position of a subordinate here, I'm in the position of a boss here, and that helps me to be able to understand both. So for me, male, female, I'm good to go. I really do not have preference. Seriously, I really do not have preference. I'm very sure I'll be
Oh,
able to work well with either.
thank you so much, Adiola. In celebrating the International Women's Day. I call it International Women's Month. Somebody told me once, but I thought it's just a day. I said, well, the whole of March is for women. It's not just a day. So
Yeah, it's the whole of
just
March.
bear with
Yes,
me
yes, you're right.
if I keep celebrating them this March every single day. So we want to
Yes,
celebrate the female bosses out there and also encourage them. Like you're not in competition with anybody per se. You're not in competition with the male counterparts, but rather you are there to show a different style, that will enhance productivity, that will enhance our
absolutely,
humanity, and at the same time that will
absolutely.
enhance our collaborative nature. So we want to say kudos to all the female bosses out there, and thank you for accepting to do this with us on the Word Cafe live show. Now, before I let you go,
You're
how do we catch you? Where do we catch you? What are you up to?
okay. You can catch me on LinkedIn. I'm also active on Instagram.
Okay.
So I'm up to coaching, basically, like you said,
All right.
coaching. So I have two major niche I focus on. Number
All
one is
right.
personal development, and number two
Mm-hmm.
is branding. So at every point in time, is either I'm talking about personal development or I'm talking about branding. So those are the two things I do. So I mentor people too. I mentor young people who need clarity of purpose. They want to do something, but they don't really know how to go about it. I mentor
Mm.
them. I help them to figure out what they want to do and how they should do it. And I do
Oh,
coaching. I do training. I
okay.
speak at events and all that. So
Okay.
that's what I'm up to.
Beautiful. You are a total package, indeed, a total package. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
guys. We have been discussing with Adiola, as in celebrating the International Women's Day, or as I like to, and we'll be talking about had on awesome time. As it's always it is on the show, time is never enough for us to talk and talk. So we have to let you go at this point. Like we
Thank you very
say it on the
much.
show all the time. Thank you, Adiola. Thank you
All
for,
right. Bye.
coming over to discuss with us. Take care. Bye for now.